Hi, I'm Ricky Valera from FandomWire. On today's video, I'm going to talk about how the success of The Last of Us and Fallout proves that video game adaptations can be great. First question, what makes a video game adaptation great? I'm going to share with you 4 points and one bonus point that all future studios and networks need to hear when acquiring the next video game adaptation. First and foremost, you must honor those who played the video game. The fan bases, including myself, spent countless hours investing their time, money, and energy playing these video games. And in return, you're asking for more investment, more time, more money, more energy. Because of this, you want to honor them by adapting these stories in a way that makes the video gamers feel part of this journey. Whether you hone in on the costumes, certain characteristics of specific characters in the game, or even the atmosphere and production design matching the games that we are playing. Another thing, attention to detail is vital. Give us context clues, Easter eggs that only gamers would see or know go a long way in showing how much you care about bringing the video game to these projects. Second point, casting the right people to bring the characters to life. If you saw what HBO and Naughty Dog did with The Last of Us, they knew that Joel and Ellie were two of the most important casting decisions in the history of video game adaptations, and they needed to be perfect for anyone to care about the show. So much of what made the worldwide success of The Last of Us was the casting of Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey as Ellie. These two sunk into these characters and brought them to life in a way that video game players loved watching. This led to the series garnering much success with video game players, audiences, and even plenty of award nominations and wins, from the Emmys to the Critics' Choice Awards. With Fallout, the series has been praised for many things, including the world building, the production design, the costumes, but the casting has been talked about as well. Ella Purnell and her portrayal of Lucy McLean. Purnell has audiences clamoring over the work that she did through these first 8 episodes of this series. You can tell the level of care she brought to the character, and of course, the same could be said for Walton Goggins as the Ghoul. We all love Walton. Every time he's in something, we know that we're going to invest our time into it. However, one of the most essential things about this character, the Ghoul, was getting that face right. It looks creepy. It looks devastating. But you mix that together with Coggins' great work, it was so mind-blowing good. So when you're creating these worlds that game players have played for many years, make sure you are casting the right people within these roles. If you don't get the casting right, you already start 5 steps behind and wholly have to work ahead to try to impress the video game players. Third point, and maybe the most important point, work with the people who created the games. Acquiring an asset to develop a project, especially off a video game, oftentimes we see them just take the project on headfirst and develop the project. However, if you work with the people who created the game, this is where you're going to find the most success. Look at what they did with HBO and, of course, The Last of Us. Neil Druckmann, who created the game The Last of Us, worked from the ground floor to create this script alongside Craig Mazin to develop the series. As a result, we've seen a widely successful show, viewership, Rotten Tomatoes score, all of it. Everybody loved the show. Now, they did the same thing on the Fallout. Todd Howard, who worked on various Fallout projects, signed on as an executive producer to work alongside Jonathan Nolan to create Fallout. The creators of the games poured their blood, sweat, and tears into these projects to create these worlds, create these characters, and even these stories. So why wouldn't you want them to be along for the ride? It makes no sense to create a video game adaptation without the video game creators. So studios, executives, work with the people who created the games. It's that simple. Point 4, listen to the players of the game. Between X, aka Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, any other social media platform, people will sound off when a video game adaptation is on its way. Of course, you have some toxic culture that lean heavily into the casting of certain people and blow it up and get mad. That's going to happen. However, the creators of the show should pay attention to what is being said. For instance, do you all remember the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog that came out just a few years ago? There was much complaints about how Sonic looked in the trailer. They went into the studio, they spent time altering, and it developed into a movie that was globally loved, a sequel, and even a spin-off series. So scour those message boards, look in the social media sites, see what is important to these game players and the audiences, and take some of that advice to develop the perfect project for the fans and game players. Bonus point. The reason The Last of Us and Fallout have found the success they have is because they made it for all audiences. Video game adaptations can be for everyone. While it's important to bring the lore from the video games to get the game players to enjoy the series, it's just as important, especially if you want multiple seasons to attract the general audiences. Just remember, The Last of Us, I've seen so many people talk about it. I've never played the game, but I love The Last of Us. I've even seen people say, I've never played The Last of Us game, but watching the series has made me want to go play the game. So, as a consumer, as a video game consumer, you're going to want to attract both because you're going to have the people that have already played the video game, that have already given you money, and maybe you'll find some new people that'll give you some money as well. A perfect balance of both of these takes a series a long way into driving success of these projects. So studios, if you're looking to make the next The Last of Us or Fallout, follow these easy steps I laid out for you. Honor those who played the video game. Cast the right people to bring these characters to life. Work with those who played a part in the creation of the game. Listen to the audiences, and bonus points, make sure the projects are accessible to all audiences. The Last of Us is streaming on Max, while you can find all 8 episodes of Fallout on Prime Video. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.